Welcome back. So now let's see one more example of field symbol, and this time we'll work with the internal table. This is very useful. Okay, in almost in every program we work with the internal table. So to modify the internal table content, the work simple symbols are very helpful. So let's create a new program, field symbol with internal tables. Save. So here what I will do, first I will define the one internal table gt underscore makt type standard table of makt, and I want to define one work area gs underscore makt type makt. First we'll work with the normal concept of internal table, and then we'll see how to use the field symbol. Okay, and I'm defining a field symbol, let's say fs underscore makt of type makt. This time I'm assigning the type of a structure of a table. This structure I'm assigning, not table. Okay, so what I will do here, so select all from makt into gt underscore makt, and I will select up to, let's say up to 10 rows only I want to select. Okay, where language equal to SCI language, this is system language. Okay, and what is my requirement for all the description? I just want to show some modification. So what I'm doing, normally what we do, loop at gt underscore makt into gs underscore makt. This is a normal way how we work with the internal table. Fine. Clear gs underscore makt. Now what I just want to assign one additional value to the makt field. There is a maktx field is there, right? maktx is the field. So what I will do, I will concatenate one, okay, gs underscore makt maktx into the same field, just to show some modification. maktx separated by a space. Now my requirement is, see here only 10 record, but in real time we might have 1000, 10,000, 50,000 record. So once we concatenate this value into this, automatically the value will not get changed, right, in the internal table. So for that we need to write here modify gt underscore makt from gs underscore makt and transporting the field. Which field you want to transport? maktx. Okay, let me show you. Internal table. Fine. So I am selecting 10 record from the makt table and just making a loop and concatenating one hyphen the same text into same field. But with this internal table into work area, this work area work as a separate object. Okay, this is not pointing directly to this internal table. So whenever we are modifying any value in this work area, we have to write this syntax explicitly to modify the internal table, because this is a separate object, this is a separate object. Fine. Let me put a breakpoint here. See, here we have 10 records. Okay, this is the value I'm going to change. Now if I press here F5, I'm concatenating that value here, first record, right? See, here the value is changed, but still in internal table it is not changed, okay, unless that syntax is executed. Now if we see, the value is changed. But for single fields, okay. But if there are like multiple records, 10,000 records are there in real time, and we are performing some operations, so by making the field symbol, we can avoid writing of this modify syntax. Second, this work area, this act as an object, right? This also consumes some memory. So instead of this, we'll replace this with the fill symbol. So that will directly point to the GT underscore MAKT. So we don't have to write this modify syntax. So what I will do, I'm copying this as it is. Okay, I will comment this. I will comment this. So here what we can do, loop at GT underscore MAKT, assigning fill symbol. Okay, which symbol, fill symbol we are using, fs underscore, sorry, only assigning, okay, fs underscore, I define MAKT, right? Assigning fs underscore MAKT. Now let me show you. Here we are assigning this table record to this fill symbol. Okay, now what we have to do, simply replace this here. Okay, I will remove all this thing from here. Save, check, and activate no error. Again, I will set the breakpoint. See what I have done, loop at internal table, assigning the fill symbol. Okay, assigning the fill symbol, and we are not using any modify syntax here. I have not written any modify syntax here. Now let's see the process, how it is get updated. I will press F8. See here, I have again 10 records, right? Okay. Now, if I press F5, so as soon as the value is changed, sorry, here I forget. Actually, I forget to write MAKTX. So let me just press F5 here. If I press F6, the complete value will get changed. This is getting changed. Okay, let me correct that code first. Let me correct the code. Here I forget to write the MAKTX. MAKTX. Now just execute again. Now if I execute now the same program, this is the internal table and our field. So if I press F5, now see the value. If I press F5, see this is changed. Now check the table. See, as soon as we change the value of fill symbol, automatically the internal table get modified at the same time. Immediately that value get modified, right? So this is the advantage of using fill symbol. First advantage, we're not using work area that acts as a separate object that consumes the memory. Here the fill symbol, it is directly pointing to the table. Okay, so as soon as that syntax get executed, the table data get modified. See here, like this. Fine. So this is very useful. Okay, wherever possible, whenever you're using the loop, always use the fill symbol. This is very, very helpful. Okay, now one more example. See, this all use old concept, right? This all I have used the old syntax. Now let's try the same with the help of new ABAP syntax. I already explained what is new ABAP syntax, right? So what we'll do, I'm not declaring any internal table here. No work area, no fill symbol. Okay, I'm not here writing any code. I'm not declaring any data. So I will use here new ABAP syntax. So what I will do, select all from MAKT into table data. This is how we declare internal table, right? With the new ABAP syntax. And here also we have to use the host variable. Save. Sorry, @ Okay, this is how we define the internal table with the new ABAP syntax. So we don't have to declare any internal table. Now what I will do, loop at GT underscore MAKT. Okay, so this time instead of work area, here I will define the fill symbol at the runtime with inline declaration. Loop at GT underscore MAKT, assigning fill symbol bracket and the fill symbol fs underscore MAKT. Okay, this is with the new ABAP syntax. This is with the new ABAP syntax. I'm writing this code. See the impact of this also. So again, I'm doing the same thing. Okay, I'm just concatenating one value, but this time I not define any internal table. I not define any work area. I not define any field symbol here. Here I'm defining the field symbol with inline declaration, which we use in the new ABAP syntax. If you're working in the S/4HANA system, by default you can go with the new ABAP syntax. If you're working in the ECC old version, then do in this way. Fine. So making use of new ABAP syntax can reduce our time of data declaration. So let me activate this. Now I will set a breakpoint again here. Execute. See, we got 10 record here. Okay, with inline declaration. If I press F6, see the impact, value is getting changed, right? Again, if I press F6, value is getting changed. Fine. So like this, we can make use of field symbol with the both old ABAP syntax and new ABAP syntax. If you're working in S/4HANA, I will suggest by default go with the inline declaration wherever possible. You don't have to define the field symbol. You don't have to bother about which type to be used. System will automatically assign the same structure as per this internal table to this field symbol. Fine. And if you're not working on HANA system, old EC system, declare that, but still for all the internal table operations, now always try to use the field symbol. Fine. Avoid the use of modify syntax. So in this way, we're done with the session on internal table operation using field symbol. Thank you.